Hello and welcome to Lit Happens, the premier showcase for literary talent in Saskatchewan. My name is Jacqueline Moore. I'm the guest host today. I've written a book called The Saskatchewan Secret, Folk Healers, Diviners, and Mystics of the Prairies, and I was the first guest on Wes Funk's show. Today, however, we're doing a special episode. We're going to funk it up, and by special request, we're interviewing Wes. Welcome, Wes, to Lit Happens.
Thank you, Jackie. It's just amazing to be a guest on my own show.
Yes, to be sitting in that seat instead of this one.
Yeah, it feels very wonky, but in a really great way. So
Awesome.
Just happy to be here.
So you have 3 books to date in print, beginning with Humble Beginnings.
Yes, in 2006, I guess that was the beginning of my whole literary publishing journey. I put out a book called Humble Beginnings. It's a little book. It's 100 pages of some short stories and poems that I had written over the course of many, many years. And I was at a point in my life where I decided, okay, I'm going to throw this out to the world or I'm not. And I decided to be brave and print Humble Beginnings. And to my surprise, it was very well received. It sold out its initial run of only 200 copies, and it led to meeting all kinds of great people and a lot of fantastic emails and phone calls from people congratulating me on the success and telling me the stories and poems moved them. So it really inspired me to take literature to the next level.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, I still want to stick with Humble Beginnings. Where did the title come from?
It just seemed like the appropriate title for a book by a first-time author. Humble Beginnings is actually the name of a short story in the book.
Okay.
But as I was throwing everything together and getting it off to the publishing house, that title kept going around my head, Humble Beginnings, Humble Beginnings. These are my humble beginnings.
Right, yeah.
And I'm going to toss them out to readers to consider, to enjoy, to not enjoy, but whatever, these are my humble beginnings.
Yeah. Excellent. I love the title. It's beautiful.
Thank
and it's
you.
a beautiful little book, and which I did see in McNally Robinson the other night, by the way.
Yes, the book has been in McNally Robinson since its incarnation in 2006, and it's still there to this day, and it still sells quite well. I'm always a little pleasantly surprised when I find out that they need more copies of it.
Yeah. Now, did you self-publish that one?
Yes, it was a
Okay.
self-published book. It was a road that I went down because of the tight publishing landscape world has changed dramatically in recent years. The digital age, as great as it is, has dramatically altered the publishing world, and a lot of writers, even very influential writers, are self-publishing. So
Right.
it was a choice I made as an artist to self-publish that book.
Big leap, too, I suspect.
Big leap, an
Yeah.
investment of money and time and energy and doing one's own marketing and doing one's own distribution. But I'm glad I took the leap. It's just been absolutely spectacular.
Right. And that led to your second book, which is what made you a huge famous celebrity, Dead Rock Stars, right here, which, I loved the premise of this book. Like each
Thank
of the title, or each of the chapters are song titles, like Under Pressure, and I see you're wearing your Queen t-shirt.
Yes, this seemed like the perfect t-shirt for today. Freddie Mercury, one of my favorite Dead Rock Stars.
Absolutely.
I thought we'd have him here on the set with us. So.
Yeah. No, I love that Walking on the Moon and Come Together, like such fabulous chapter titles. Tell us about the book, Dead Rock Stars.
Well, like you said, all the chapter titles are iconic rock songs of the 70s and 80s, which was the era that I grew up in. And that was back when I was growing up, my obsession with rock and roll and pop culture and even Dead Rock Stars themselves was sort of a survival skill that I adapted to growing up very isolated on the prairies. I was fascinated with the world of music and the world of pop culture, and I think it was how I grew up content in what was sometimes a very lonely world. Dead Rock Stars is something I always call my sort of memoir, because it's basically the story of my coming of age, told with a fictional twist to it. Names of characters were changed and that sort of thing, and the actual place in Saskatchewan where the story takes place isn't exactly where I grew up, but more or less it is the story of my coming of age. So it is a hugely personal story to me.
Yes, I've heard you read from it many times, and it always feels personal, you know, like you know you're listening to something pretty raw. This book is now in, how many times has it been printed? This book is very successful.
It has been quite successful. It went into its third printing recently.
Excellent, congratulations.
Thank you. It's well into its third printing. And I'm not sure how this happened, but it's in 40 stores across Canada.
Wow.
And just widely available right here in Saskatchewan. So
Yes, and now how many copies have you sold, may I ask?
sold, actually we're coming up to about 1,200 copies sold.
Wow.
So.
Okay, and I happen to know the Writers' Union of Canada states that the average Canadian book sells 400 copies. So you've sold 3 times that.
Yeah, it's an interesting fact. Actually, most books published in Canada, unless they're written by Margaret Atwood or somebody equally as gigantic, only sell 400 to 500 copies. So the fact that my little self-published book escalated way past that is just hugely affirming to me.
Yes. And in fact, along the way, you have become somewhat of a self-publishing guru around these parts. In fact, you're the reason I self-published The Saskatchewan Secret.
Yes, you and I hooked up a few years ago, and I sort of almost ordered you to self-publish The Saskatchewan Secret, which we adorns our shelves here, but you've had tremendous success with that.
Oh yeah, I'm very glad I self-published it, just because it's been such a great experience. But you, meanwhile, though, have been a real advocate for self-publishing, and you're often at forums on self-publishing. You're one of the people that's giving information out and encouraging others to do that. Why are you such a proponent for self-publishing?
Well, you're right. It has led off to another branch of my career where I conduct self-publishing workshops all over the place. But I am a big advocate for it because a lot of great work does not get published because publishing houses are overwhelmed with submissions, thousands and thousands of submissions. They are not able to publish them all. It's nothing against them, it's just they are limited.
Yeah.
So because of this, there has been a self-publishing boom in Saskatchewan. A lot of the books adorning our shelves right now are self-published. The big books in Saskatchewan in recent years are all self-published. Yours is a prime example. I Am How to Write by Marion Kirkby. Phenomenal success, self-published.
75,000 copies she sold?
Yes.
Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah.
John Gormley's a hugely successful book, Left Out, that was self-published.
Right.
Even the children's book Baba's Babushka, which is literally sweeping Canada right now, self-published.
Right, Marion
Yeah.
has done excellent with that. Yes, there does seem to be a bit of a movement underfoot with self-publishing, and you are definitely one of the spearheaders of it, I would say, at least locally. So now then there was a third book called Baggage. Tell us about Baggage.
Well, Baggage was another novel that I put out recently, actually about a year ago, and it was my attempt to be more of a serious novelist. The premise of the book is a lot heavier than Dead Rock Stars. It's a tale of a Saskatoon group of misfits who bond together and become a community all of their own in an attempt to survive this sometimes cruel world we live in. And Baggage it's having a great run. It really is. I'm really proud of the work I've done with it, but it has never eclipsed what I've done with Dead Rock Stars.
Yeah, this is the one you're known for, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Though I love Baggage, yes.
Thank you.
Now let's see. As far as next projects, I believe you have a manuscript that's at a publisher's or being self-published?
It probably will be self-published in 2012. The manuscript is called Cherry Blossoms.
Okay.
And yes, it is in the self-publishing company's hand right now as we speak. And we're working on it. And basically, it is my attempt to write chick lit.
Ah.
It, again, is semi-autobiographical in many ways, but I am a huge fan of chick lit, always have been. A big advocate for girl power.
Right.
And it was my take on how that affects the women of Saskatchewan.
Girl power. So, like, what is it's about women that you admire? Like, okay.
The main character, Cherry, is a tie-in of all the women in the world that have really influenced me or had a broad impact on my life. And they've all been sewn together in this wonderful little character named Cherry Markowski.
Oh, that's great.
And she is a fiery little soul, and she goes on a pilgrimage from rural Saskatchewan to Saskatoon to seek out a life for herself. So it's a lot of iconic Saskatchewan places are used in the book, and I think a lot of viewers, if they decide to check it out, are going to enjoy that. Yeah.
So coming out next year.
Yeah, I think we're gearing for summer of 2012.
Excellent.
Everything goes as planned.
Good. Well, I know it'll be a big... I'll hear about it when it happens, because you are the king of promotion and marketing. You are really top-notch at that, which I think is one of the things that needs to be maybe said about self-publishing, is that you do have to get into that whole realm.
Yes, it's not a journey for everybody, as you and I both know, but you do your own legwork, you do your own marketing and distribution and that sort of thing, although there is a big support system right now. But yeah, it's very labor intensive, and a lot of days it feels like a real labor of love, but in the end it's well worth it. Yeah.
Okay, and now Wes, this is Lit Happens, is actually your show. Tell us about Lit Happens. I happen to know today's a special episode.
Today is our 30th episode of Lit Happens. This was an experiment started on Shaw right here in early spring of this year, and where we start to give some local writers some really great coverage, and we weren't sure how it was going to fly, but it seems to be flying quite grandly, because here we are on a 30th episode, and I think there's going to be a lot more to come, and I'm getting some really terrific feedback.
Yeah, well, and it was feedback that prompted this episode. People wanted to know about you.
Yes, it was. I was literally stopped on the street by people, and they told me, look, you need to feature yourself on the show, because people aren't really comprehending why you are the host.
Yeah. And now it's being seen in other places besides Saskatoon.
Yes, from what I understand, the show now airs weekly in Prince Albert, Moose Jaw, and Swift Current, besides the Saskatoon area. So
wow. Well, hello everyone out there.
Oh, for sure.
Congratulations. You've done so much in your very short 24 years. And this show is great. And thank you for inviting me to be the host today. And I'll turn it over to you to end today's program.
Okay. Well, thank you for hosting the show today. I can't think of a better candidate. If you enjoyed today's episode, you can watch previous episodes on YouTube, and you can go onto our Facebook page and like us. So I will see you next time on Lit Happens.